Hi, welcome back to the Angry Cast. We are finishing up work on our beacon shrine for the multiplayer server Modern Empire. Here is our actual deity, or statue of a deity, that will be holding the beacon in the middle of the fountain. And as you can see, I'm struggling with the detail of trying to get this to look like an actual person. Being Minecraft blockiness, it's very hard to get the level of detail on a statue like this without having to build it on a much grander scale. You can see I'm fiddling with these stone brick steps and the stone bricks to try to create the look of a statue. It was the only way I could match the look of the rest of the shrine without having to use cobblestone steps. Granted, the stone brick steps have a seam along the edges, but I was the best thing I could find in my arsenal of blocks in my creative inventory. You can see here I'm still fiddling with the head, trying to get it to look right, and I will do so for much more time during this video. Now the wings, I basically used right side up and upside down steps, and eventually I'm going to come back and put in some more water to sort of cover up the fact that I have these steps at the bottom breaking the water level. When I originally did the dome, and I went back and looked at my source picture, the outside of the dome had openings in it, or open space in it. And I wanted to put in glass on my dome just to sort of break up the stone brick steps around the edges. And you can see here I've replaced the regular stone bricks with stone brick steps to sort of give it a more contoured feel. But I really didn't like the way this was turning out, so I just decided to scrap it all and start all over again, putting back the regular bricks. And on the inside here we're just putting in more detail, sort of making it look a little bit more rounded, less angular. One of the problems you get to experience when you're building something like this is overkill. I went through here and put a lot of these upside down steps to sort of try to give it some more detail and depth, and it eventually just became unbearably crowded and congested, and I just decided to scrap the whole thing. Now you can see here we have these iron bars going along the sides of our walkway, and to sort of give it a railing effect, I put the half slabs on top. It kind of gives it a nice effect, but I wasn't really sure about it yet. And I also noticed that these awnings over the arms of the walkways they were uneven in regards to the spacing between the three holes. There was only 2 block difference on the first one, but the other ones had 3. So I decided to get rid of this and start over again. One of the nice things about being in creative mode is I had the ability to just go and get rid of these blocks without having to worry about it. So I was eventually going to come back through here and take out all these steps and half slabs and put in regular blocks, lowering the ceiling, as it were, to 1 block lower. There was an unintended side effect, which was fortunate, and that was that it opened up that first opening to 3 blocks, or a 9 block square, which was rather fortuitous. I'm going to go back in and put the steps, upside down steps in for the archways and the pillars. I'm still struggling with placing upside down steps. When we first started out, we did not have a level patch of ground. I cleared out as much room as I needed to put in the shrine, but I wanted to go back and fill in the rest of the dirt to bring everything up to the level of the walkway. This was supposed to be flush with ground level. So now I'm just going back through and placing all this skeleton is in my way, and being in creative mode, he's not going to bother me, but I still have to get him out of my way. So and the pig's now in my way too. A little bit more detail work on the archways and the awnings. I thought it would be nice to come back around with steps and sort of give this a more curved look, being that the steps do corners now. It looked rather nice. Gave it more of a contoured feel. Wasn't blocky, wasn't angular. As angular, I should say. Sometimes flying is like skating on ice. You just tend to fly past where you intended to stop. One of the downfalls of working in creative mode. Once I finished off the awnings, I decided to come back in and finish off the railings. I wanted to extend out the center area so that I could put in these fences and still have enough room to maneuver around the fountain and the statue in the center. Of course, capping them off with our half slabs, stone half slabs, as our top of our railing. As part of my picture this was a garden area, not just a shrine, so I went through and placed these wood or logs and put leaves, tree leaves on top to serve as hedges, topiaries. Originally I thought that you could not have leaves on the ground without wood underneath them in a certain block radius. But after a few days I had noticed that these had not disappeared, so maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe I'm being on the ground, they serve as hedges. Now I did notice that these iron bars were just not going to work anymore. I hadn't put the slabs on these ones yet, and I just decided to go back and take out all of the slabs because they made it nearly impossible to get around the fountain without having to maneuver. And with these iron fences reaching into the leaves, it just didn't look right. So I came back through with half slabs and laid them down, and it worked out much, much better. Because even if the half slabs were in your way, you still moved over top of them without having to jump. The last bit of detail work we need to do is the edges of the dome that were exposed. We're going to come back through here and put in vines later on. You can see we have just doing a check on our symmetry. Here I come back through with the last bit of water to cover up my mistake with the steps breaking the water level. Now it looks like a working fountain. And these wings just weren't impressive enough. We needed to make them bigger. If I had really thought about how big the statue was going to be, I probably would have made the dome a lot bigger in size, but I think it worked out just fine. I think that's just about all that we need to do to call this a done project. I turned the steps inward to make it look like the hands are holding the beacon instead of just sitting alongside the beacon. Last thing we're going to do is hang our vines, give it a little bit of a garden feel, like it's overgrown somewhat. These vines will spread all the way down to the ground. And they will make for some wonderful little vegetation on the sides of our dome and will not disrupt the aesthetic of our garden theme. And as well as having our topiaries in the garden around the shrine, I wanted to put in these lanterns. This took a while for me to sort of figure out how I wanted them to look. Several different designs just ended up being a simple block with a glowstone hovering above a half slab. As you can see, I went back through some bone meal and grew out the grass and the flowers around the outside of the shrine. I'm going to show you a picture of what the original artwork looked like that I used as inspiration for the design. I got that from just doing a Google search for shrine. So if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe to the Angry Cast, and maybe we'll do some more building on our own single-play version of Mongo Smash's Minecraft. For now, this is the Modern Empire server. Come check us out. The IP will be in the description, along with any relevant links. And I want to thank you again for joining us. I hope to see you on YouTube, and maybe in Minecraft.